Thank you, Mike. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. So I picked the topic, friendship, because I thought it was going to be easy. And I'm used to doing that and having it turn out the same way. It's complicated. It's complicated. But I wanted to explore the idea of friendship because of the lockdown and the pandemic, and we all just kind of cringed in our houses, afraid to go out, and we were told to not go out. We were told not to be together, or if we were together, we better be masked and we better be 6 feet apart. And that's done damage. I think that's done damage to many people. And I wanted to understand a little bit more about what friendship is, and just explore that. And it's been wonderful, and every book I picked up had more stuff about friendships. I used 4 different books this time. And it was just wonderful, wonderful stuff about friendship. I wanted to explore my childhood too. Most of my life, I have not been aware that I've had friends. Of course, I have had friends, but I don't think I loved them or trusted them or trusted that they'd be there for me. And when I was growing up, I had my sisters. My sisters were my friends. And I think even though we fought a lot, we still grew up depending on each other and not on anybody else. And as a consequence, I have no idea where my classmates are, and the kids I grew up with, you know. And yet there was a time when I went back east to New York State for a couple different graduation celebrations. And I met with those people, and they were different, but they were my friends. I felt their friendship, and it felt reassuring. It certainly felt reassuring. So my life has been trying to reassure myself that I actually do have friends. Another opportunity to make yourself miserable is not thinking that you have no friends, even though you do. Of course you do. So if you want to know about feeling miserable, how we make ourselves feeling miserable, a couple of talks ago, it's on YouTube. All you have to do is Google my name, and as shy as a person I am, it's kind of embarrassing to think that all you have to do is Google my name. And it's surreal. It's just unbelievable, because I did grow up in a family that we just kept to ourselves. And I was very shy. I still am shy. I'm still shy. So why friendships? Why friendships? Well, because we are social creatures. We need friendships. We need physical friendships. We need touch. We need to touch each other. Emotionally, we have needs, and so we need love. And we forget that love is everywhere, all the time, that Spirit is filling us with its love, and that's who we are. We forget. Mentally, with conversation and exchange, that we have those needs. And spiritually, that aware presence that we give to the world, that we give to others, that is our friendship, it is part of our friendship with each other, that presence. That presence that's much bigger than we ourselves are. So I wanted to know how to be a good friend, and so I went to the internet, of course. It's so much fun. Oh my goodness. And it's endless. Of course, it's endless. The possibilities are endless. Fortunately, I only have 20 minutes. So I got a few ideas which I really liked. Take walks together. Eat together. Share your food. We talked about that in our Sufi class last Tuesday evening, about sharing food, because in Ramadan, Muslims fast all day while the sun is up. And then in the evening, when the sun goes down, they eat, and they eat in groups. They eat in families and share with each other. And so we talked about that a little bit in our Sufi class. Next is listen. Listen more than you speak. Trust your friends. And Neil Donald Walsh says, trust God. Have a real conversation with your friends, not just short ones. I have been guilty of just short conversations and thinking that that's enough. Well, it's not quite enough. It's not quite enough. So what I really loved was that when the pandemic started, Delith and Rob Fagerlund started this Wednesday and Friday Zoom call, and I've been on it since the beginning, and it has just been so wonderful. The other thing that happened during the beginning of the pandemic was that I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So my friends were the people at the hospital. I looked forward to my chemotherapy sessions because that was the place that I was present to talk to people, and people were present to talk to me. And it gave me so much. I mean, the experience was pretty awful, but it was made smoother and easier and more interesting because of spending time talking to people as well as other things. And okay, the next one is thank Spirit for help, and you will think of new ways to be a friend. Because when we do acknowledge that endless possibility in our lives, when we acknowledge Spirit, what I've noticed flows into my mind are more and more and more ideas. And it doesn't matter what I'm thinking about, but there's amazing ideas that I have never thought of that begin to come with just acknowledging that there is a spiritual energy that's filling me. Encourage each other and accept others as they are, which we have a tendency not to do. Accepting each other as we are. So mostly I want to speak of the spiritual side of friendships. And I'm going to quote from the prophet. This is a book that I received. It's in pretty bad shape now, but I received it for my high school graduation, and I've kept it ever since. And a youth said, "Speak to us of friendship." And he answered, saying, "Your friend is your needs answered. He is your field which you sow with love and reap with thanksgiving. For you come to him with your hunger, and you seek him for your peace." And let there be no purpose in friendship save for the deepening of the Spirit. So all relationships are spiritual relationships. All friends are spiritual friends, and we are all soulmates. Their purpose is to not make us happy, but many of us think that relationships are the purpose of relationships is to help us become conscious rather than happy. In this sense, we may think of relationships as work rather than play. That's a whole nother thing. Happiness is about our own inner process, not about a relationship. We are happy in a relationship or not, depending on the light we are bringing to the relationship, depending on the light we bring wherever we go. And to me, happiness is not automatic, especially if we're looking for it in our world. We won't find it. We will see things that remind us of our own happiness. We will see things that remind us of our own love. These lilacs are just so beautiful. And I don't know if anyone's noticed the big trees that are blooming now, the black locusts. And there goes Mark nodding his head, because he knows about these things. But if you go near one of those trees and smell the smell, it is just, it's just heaven. It's just heavenly. So these things remind us of our own love, of our own happiness that we bring wherever we go, if we're bringing happiness to ourselves and to each other. So if happiness is a result of our own inner work and of letting go of what we think should be true and accepting what is. What is might be our own emotional or physical pain. But awareness can change everything. Awareness, just as awareness will change our experience of being miserable, it will enhance our happiness. It will enhance our love. It will diminish our pain. And we are infinitely creative, especially when it comes to a need for change. And we need to do that a lot. We need change. We need change, and change is a good thing. At some point, each of us will get into arguments with our closest friends or family. I think it was the physical pain in the last few years that made my husband more argumentative. And I don't know where I got this idea exactly, but what I decided to try when things were difficult was taking responsibility for the whole thing. I just said, well, I'll just take responsibility for the whole thing. And I said, well, that's not very practical because it's not my fault. But by taking responsibility for him and for myself and for our relationship, I took a breath, I stopped what I was doing, I just got a hold of it, to become aware of two people who love each other, who just can't get along right this minute, because we think we're right. We go into the conversation, and I am sure this is true for almost every conversation, and in our lives in general, we think we're right. we think we're right. But what happened was the energy completely changed. It was as if I went away, and I didn't go away. I just opened up the field. I opened up the possibilities, and you can't fight with someone who's not there. There was a part of me that just was not there anymore, because I had changed my energy. I couldn't change his, but he had to change his. Another person arguing with you, if you've gone away, even if you're there looking at the person, if your ego has gone away, then they can't argue. And I'm sure it was frustrating for Larry, but it was very peaceful for me. So let's see, there's another quote here. I hope this is it. Too many books and you start getting mixed up. This is from The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I've been listening to him on YouTube. It's just, he's amazing. If you are consistently, or at least predominantly present in your relationship, this will be the greatest challenge for your partner. They will not be able to tolerate your presence for very long and stay unconscious. If they are ready, they will walk through the door you open for them and join you in that state. And if not, they won't. But I really like that quote. And Thomas More, in Soulmates, Honoring the Mysteries of Love and Relationship, talks about friendship as more than a union of personalities. It is a union of souls. Sometimes brief, sometimes long-lasting, encounters have value. Depending on the person, every encounter can teach us something, especially if we're not like that other person. Often we are presented with new opportunities to choose how to be. So this week I took my, lawnmower, the riding lawnmower that I inherited from Larry. The wheel just kind of crumbled, and so it's this big, it's very heavy, but I drove it down to Monroe. I had never, had to deal with these kinds of problems before, but I realized it was only 15 miles to Monroe. It seemed like it was way far away, because I never did anything like that before. It was really far away, but it didn't turn out to be very far away. So these people were really nice. I needed a replacement. I haven't heard from them, but I hope they can find something for me. So the person helping me was wearing not a MAGA hat, but definitely a political hat that was Republican. And I could feel my stomach going just like this, And it was all I could do to stop myself from making some political comments, because I feel so strongly. But I did. I managed to be peaceful and nice. I mean, I'm aware of how much I need that person to find me a tire for my lawnmower. Otherwise, it will cost me well over $100 to get a new wheel for this 25-year-old lawnmower. So, and the other thing I want to mention is we do not want to forget our friendships with our small furry friends. My cats have helped me through the pandemic and the recovery from cancer and all of that. It's just wonderful. There's a quote from Pavana. Your soul is attracted to people the same way flowers are attracted to the sun. Surround yourself with those who want to see you grow. I really like that. We can choose our friends carefully and intuitively, and choose our words even more carefully. Often I'm so eager to express myself in response to someone that I do not say what I mean. And we can choose to slow down and trust that we will say the right thing at the right time. And that can make for a healing friendship. And although generally we have friendships, and sometimes we have many friendships, there usually are only a few that are really healing friendships. So that's my goal, to be a healing friend. Our minds are not the most reliable biology on the planet, for they are the house of the ego, and the ego is not our best friend. So I think, here, I'm beginning to finish up now. I think the most important quality of a true friend is one who listens, and listening is an art. Listening is an art, and listening is an intention. And I want you to notice how you feel when you feel listened to. It's a very powerful energy when you listen. So Neil Donald Walsh in Friendship with God says, I believe we know at the highest level that we are all one. This awareness pulls us together, and ignoring it tears us apart and creates the deep loneliness of the human heart, of which there is a lot. So our job, I think, is to fill that need. It's to help fill that need in each other. The words from Ram Dass, we are all just walking each other home. I think there's a song about that. I think there's a song. Somebody needs to sing it someday. Our lesson is quite simple. Show up, listen for the voice of the human heart, yours and theirs. Be present to be your divine self. And remember that we are all one. And now it's your turn. I'm sure I missed a few things, and I want you to fill it in.